Jamoski Ward is back for his second season as the head coach of the Wilkinson County Warriors. What a season last year. 6-5, 4-1 in Region 5 in Single A Division 2. They got to the playoffs, lost a tough game to Miller County. But Coach, you had to feel good about your first season, the success you had. And look, after 7 straight losing seasons, this program now has had 3 straight non-losing seasons. We had a little 5-5 mark in between there, right? But so you got to feel like this program is on the right track.
Absolutely. We're trying to take the next step in our program, to try to win a region championship, to try to win a couple games in the playoffs. We got several guys coming back offensively and defensively. The things I tell my guys all the time is that, success in football is not anything new at Wilkinson County. Now it's, everyone knows about the success that we've had in basketball, 11 state championships. And, you go over to the Palace, you kind of see everything on. Sorry about that. You kind of see all those pictures on the wall of all those celebrated teams. So, we're hoping to kind of take that next step as a program this year, certainly.
Let's talk about your defense. You've got 4 returning starters, so you're missing some players from last year. 3 defensive linemen, a couple of secondary guys as well. So I guess, especially with the offensive players being a little bit more experience, you're going to be doing a lot of work here the next month, getting that secondary ready or the whole defense really ready for the season, aren't you?
Yes, and at our level, a lot of our guys have to play both ways. So a lot of our major contributors on offense are going to be major contributors on defense as well.
Sure.
We lost quite a bit defensively, man. We lost 3 really good defensive linemen. One being a Dow Hart, who was a senior that signed with Kentucky Wesleyan, and we lost several important DBs for us also. So we've been putting a lot of emphasis on the secondary. Trying to get some young guys ready. It looked like we're going to be starting a sophomore, Demarion Justice at one corner, Davari Walker at another corner. But hopefully, Raheem Tompkins at free safety can kind of keep the secondary intact, as those guys kind of learn the position.
First game coming up on the 15th against Wheeler County, and the offense could have to kind of lead the Warriors for a while until that defense gets set. We'll talk about the returning players on the offensive side of the ball with Coach Ward in our next report. Jamoski Ward is back for his second season as the head coach at Wilkinson County. The Warriors coming off a winning season at 6-5. All right, your offense now. I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of coaches during this Coach's Corner time talk about returning skill players like this. Quarterback, Contrarian Stanford, back for his junior season. He started last season. 2 wide receivers, Miles Cobb, Raheem Tompkins, back after leading the team in receiving yards, pushing 1,200 yards together. Terrell Blunt, senior running back, coming back after being the leading rusher for you. So that's a great thing. But you also have offensive line help up front. And we know, Coach, got to win up front, right? You got to start kind of up front.
Absolutely. And, I've been very satisfied with the work which those guys have put in this offseason. One of the things that our administration did for us this winter was give us weight room in January, because I felt as if, we weren't big enough or strong enough to kind of compete with, some of the better teams in Single A Division 2. But just throwing a couple names out, I have Justice Bass, who will be starting at center. He's a 2-3-year starter at center. Victor Peacock will be starting at guard for us. I think Victor will probably be one of the better offensive linemen in our region. We got Amari Hosley, starting at tackle, and all those guys are all region caliber kids from last year. So we're really going to, we got the skilled kids, but we think we got a good core of linemen that's going to really get the run game going for us early in the season this year compared to last year, because last year it took a little while for our run game to really get going.
Well, and Stanford, the quarterback, again, really good numbers last season. How much do you rely on him as your guy, as your dude? I mean, with that experience going into his junior season, again, not many people have that.
Right, and he's a 2-year starter. He started for me last year, and he started the year before I got here.
Okay.
And what was kind of crazy is I have a relationship with him because he was the quarterback at Oak Hill Middle when I was the OC over at Baldwin.
Okay.
So this is a kid that I've known for about 3 or 4 years now. But he's a lefty. He can make all the throws. And probably, he was a 2,000-yard passer last year, but probably the biggest stat for him, as a sophomore last year is that he completed 62% of his passes last year.
Yeah.
So he was very efficient. So we're certainly going to depend on him. Keeping him healthy is going to be something that's big for us. So that's why those guys up front are going to be important for us. And he has, several guys that he can get the ball to. When you talk about Miles Cobb, when you talk about Raheem Tompkins, when you talk about Terrell Blunt in the backfield, then we got a couple new guys that we think need to take the next step. That's kind of been waiting for their opportunity. So we're kind of excited to see, what those guys are going to do for us, offensively and defensively as well.
First game on the 15th against Wheeler County. Coach Ward, we wish you great success. Keep that program going in the positive direction, okay?
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.